Hello, Dr. Dava. My name is Vimal Rich from Group 36, and these are my group members, Shavindran Rajakumar and Noralia Nabila binti Muhammad Nasir. And this is our assignment 2 presentation for web deployment and security measurements on AWS. Alia, please take it away.
Okay, so the description of this design is to deploy and configure a web application using Amazon Web Service, ensuring secure and scalable infrastructure for efficient operation. The design incorporates various AWS services such as Amazon EC2 and Amazon RDS to meet the application requirements for high availability, performance, and security. Next. Okay. So why we choose EC2 over Lambda? Amazon EC2 and AWS Lambda are both Amazon Web Services, tools that can be used to run application. EC2 is better suited for long-term operation, while Lambda is better for short-term tasks and event-driven programming. So why we choose RDS over S3 Glacier? The AWS Academic Cloud Foundation sandbox environment is limited to its free tier option. And S3 Glacier is not included due to its long retrieval time and specific use case for retrieval storage. Since our project requires real-time access to data, using S3 Glacier would delay data retrieval, making it impractical for an active enterprise application. Additionally, the sandbox environment focuses on hands-on learning with commonly used AWS services like EC2 and RDS rather than platform retrieval solutions.
All right, so now we will quickly go through over how we implemented the website and deployed it on AWS. Because of the sandbox time limit of 3 hours, we took screenshots of it before it closed down. All right, Alia, please continue.
Okay, so for the website deployment, first step, we will be creating the database in RDS. As you can see here, next, we set up the EC2 instance, and then EC2 and RDS connection setup, and then we do the putty configuration for EC2 instant access, and then we use WinSCP for secure file transfer. And step 6 would be updated website files deployment. And next, this one, and then we ensure the MySQL database importing. And lastly, we will get access to web using the IPv4 address given in EC2. So we will be testing. We have done the testing successfully for insert new entry and delete all entries.
Okay, Sharvin will now present the security measures that we have implemented on AWS.
Okay, there are a few security measures we implemented in our website. And firstly, we implemented identity and access management (IAM). Okay, why we used IAM? It used to manage. Sorry. My screen became blank. Okay. It used to manage access controls and enforce security policies in AWS. All right, the next one. The next security measure we implemented is security groups. Okay. We added following inbound rules to control incoming traffic. For example, we used HTTP port 80, HTTPS port 443, MySQL or Aurora port 3306, and SSH port 22. So why we use these rules? We use these to restrict access to necessary service while ensuring controlled access to database and server. Alright, the next security measure we have network security with VPC. Why use VPC? Because it is used to create an isolated network environment within AWS, so it allows us better security, network segmentation, and control over traffic flow. So this ensures secure communication between cloud resources while minimizing exposure to external threats. Okay, security measure for encryption through SSL certificates. What is SSL? It's encryption protects data transmitted between a user's browser and a web server by encrypting it. This prevents attack from intercepting sensitive information such as login credentials, payment details, and personal data. So what's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? HTTP is there's no encryption, so making the data vulnerable to interception, and it's less secure and it lacks authentication. Meanwhile, HTTPS it uses SSL or TLS encryption, so it ensures data confidentiality and integrity. So this helps us to protect against data tampering and impersonation attacks. I'm sorry. Next, we have AWS CloudTrail. By enabling CloudTrail, we ensure continuous monitoring and accountability for all actions performed within our AWS environment. For the security measure 6, we have AWS CloudWatch. What does CloudWatch help us in? It helps in performance monitoring, real-time alerts, and proactive scaling.
Okay.
Okay, with CloudWatch, we maintain system reliability and detect potential performance issues before they affect users. Okay, the alarm set in AWS CloudWatch is specifically designed to monitor CPU usage. It tracks the CPU utilization of the EC2 instance, so it ensures that the system does not exceed a critical threshold. If the CPU usage becomes too high, CloudWatch triggers an alert, allowing the team to take action before it's affected. So this helps in preventing slowdowns and ensures system stability and optimizing resource allocation. All right.
Next slide, please.
All right.
Okay. Another security measure we implemented are network access control lists. So network access control lists function quite similar to security groups, but they are an even more advanced layer that control inbound and outbound traffic at the subnet level itself. It behaves like a firewall, filtering traffic even before it reaches the security groups. So it's an even stronger layer of security. So ACLs are stateless, whereas security groups are stateful. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, another feature we implemented are multi-factor authentication. So if a user wants to log in, they don't the ID and the password is not sufficient. They also have to authenticate with their Google Authenticator app on their mobile phones. So this adds another layer of security. Next slide, please. And finally, we implemented a strong password policy for all of our passwords in our database and all aspects of RDS and EC2. So we have ensured that our passwords are as strong as we can make it. Okay, that's all for the security features that we implemented. I would now like to discuss other paid security features in AWS that can be implemented to strengthen security of our web application in AWS. So for network security, we have AWS WAF, which protects against SQL injection, XSS, and then we have AWS Shield Advanced, which provides DDoS protection. Then we have VPN gateways. For access and authentication, we have AWS Secret Manager and AWS Identity Center that securely manages and stores database credentials and authentication across AWS accounts. Then for data protection, we have AWS KMS that manages encryption keys for RDS and S3 and etc. And then we have Amazon Guard Duty, which detects unauthorized access and threats using artificial intelligence. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, another other features that we can implement for monitoring and threat detection, we have AWS Config, we have AWS Security Hub, and AWS Inspector, which scans EC2 for vulnerabilities and misconfigurations. For backup and recovery, if you are opting for the paid option, RDS automatically backups to ensure that you can retrieve your data in the case of any loss. And as for identity and security control, there is AWS Cognito, which manages user authentication and access control. That is all for our presentation. Thank you, Dr. Nava.
Thank you.